Hello, hello, my dragon family. Wait, it's Monday. What? I'm checking on you guys. I'm seeing if you're allowing yourself to be in flow and acting as the guidepost for living that. Really trying to, not trying, just allowing myself to be in the flow of when things feel right. And so interesting, I had a lot of confirmations this morning and a great question. That I was actually contemplating more in depth this morning before I had a discovery call, and another great question came up during that was linked to it. So I thought, I think this is supposed to be a discussion today. So we're going to come on and we're going to stump everybody by not being here on Tuesday, but on Monday. Just as I mentioned last week, I said start watching because I'm going to be in flow more and more. This is what the dragons are asking of me and of all of us. When we emerge into our higher selves, our natural state is joy, and it's a natural state moment by moment of being in that joy and what brings you joy. And even sitting, for some reason I thought I would start 30-40 minutes ago, and I was just sitting with the information more and feeling into it and sitting with the dragons, and something that's kept me on pause. And then maybe 10 minutes ago I got a phone call that needed to happen, and something told me, like, if I had started the live early, it would have interrupted the whole live by the phone ringing and all that. And so it's so beautiful to sit and follow your gut and know. So we're going to dive into the questions that came up. I had two very interesting pieces come in, both related to the inner earth, middle earth dragons, middle earth, deep earth, those that are within the core, and those within the inner spheres, the dimensional spaces within Earth. So the first question I had was from one of my program attendees over the years, who wrote in to me last week. She sent me an email and was asking about the Malachite dragon and wanting to know its direct, like, what lineage is it in, and which, where would you place that, and that's leading to some other information or questions. And so in sitting with it, I really had to sit with, because there's specific dragons that have presented within the wisdom, love, and power lineages, that if you have the book, you know that I've got those lineages delineated in the book in a diagram. I have updated that and added layers to it as the Pleiadians and the inner earth or the deep earth dragons and middle earth dragons have made themselves more prevalent and known. But within that, there is... so for example, with the middle earth dragons, we have the emerald, the sapphire, and the ruby. They're very clearly in the wisdom, love, and power lineages. And so this question of, well, where's the Malachite fit? And with the inner earth dragons, so when I say inner earth, I'm referring to the middle and the deep earth. And the difference is the middle earth ones are more transparent. They're gemstone quality. The deep earth ones are still very opaque, have that lapis characteristic. So holding that energy and feeling, all right, where would Malachite sit? Where would some of the others? And I sat with just pulling up gemstones off the top of my head of jasper, calcite, tourmaline, unakite, agate, barite, garnet, bloodstone, tigerite, turquoise, topaz. Where do they all sit? Because I know there are dragons associated with each. One of the really interesting pieces of information that came quite some time ago was how when the gems, so all of the elements on Earth, the gold, all the metals, and the different elements were seeded by those energies. So knowing that there's an energetic structure, a fifth dimensional sacred geometric structure underlying every single thing that is in matter, including yourself, right? So if we have strains of silver, gold, I'm trying to think of that, like plutonium, titanium, rhodium, all these different things. Well, those were seeded in energetically into the sacred geometrics in order to drop down into matter by the dragons of those energies. And that information first came from when the Pleiadians started working with me and showing me other pieces and showing me how the different metallics were seeded in, and even the metalloids that they're associated with, like planting an energetic seed, and then that eventually was able to drop down into matter. So these other stones, when I sit with the reflection of that down in what I consider like between 3 and 4D, So if I say Middle Earth, say we're in 3D, we're in 3.0. I've always considered Middle Earth to be like 3.5 and Deep Earth like 3.8, getting very close to that bridge over through the veil into the higher dimensions. So if that's the case, there's this reflection basis of that principle where they sit energetically. But when I've tuned into all of these different gemstones or rocks or minerals, however you want to term them, like the malachite, like the bloodstone, like the tigerite, I know there's a dragon associated with it. I can feel their presence. And when I go into those caverns, I feel a plethora of dragons around me. And yet I feel this triangulation in the core with, for example, the emerald, the sapphire, and the ruby. And I've even delineated that further with peridot, amethyst, and obsidian, and citrine, lapis, and cornelian down into the deep earth, that there's this stronghold of these triangulations that are within the core lineages as archetypes, wisdom, love, power. But beyond that, today it came clear of like, there's like council members around that if you had a council of 12 around a core of 3 and then a larger council around that make up the subsidiary and branches, sort of like rays of color or rays of energy. And my initial response to this gal was that feeling of like how and why there's colors in the rainbow, that there's all these different aspects, and that they're maintaining and holding those different aspects rather than aligning to one of the specific core central the triangulation energies that are the core lineages holding the structure of this what do we call it, this dimensional level, holding it in place, that there's this broad spectrum around it. And that knowing Earth is a jewel. Earth is known in the multiverse as a real specific jewel. It's also known for having, hello Anuma, I haven't seen you in ages, glad you could pop on. Also knowing that there's this spectrum of emotions that's available on this planet through the human format that is different than other planetary expression. That it's so much more nuanced, and there's so many more variants and variations. It's a much larger spectrum. And I felt that there's a corollary in that with these rays of the different dragons that are holding that space in the inner earth realms, that have seeded in all those different emotional connector points, that spectrum, through these minerals. And knowing how crystal healers, I don't do crystal healing work specifically, but I have friends that have in the past, and so I was exposed to, well, these specific stones will help this specific kind of energy, this emotion, this part of the body. And it's really starting, as I'm talking about it, this is how I usually come to terms with stuff or really get my answers, is by talking it through and feeling this energy of these like 12 council members, and then maybe 24 beyond that, that these ranks of energetics are like spokes on a wheel that hub out and interweave, so that they're not a single spectrum line, but they weave the color in between, like teal is between green and blue, and where those fit, and how different shades of the purples and the indigos, they're all within the magentas and whatever. So there's something within that, in comprehending and allowing your expansion to grow with your connection to the inner earth dragons, be they middle or deep earth, and having that awareness come in of how it's holding the different spectrums, and the different crystals holding them will help you connect with those dragons. You know, you go hold a chunk of lapis, you're going to be more directly connected with the lapis dragon. And same with any of them, tiger eye, bloodstone, garnet, topaz, agate, any of those. So it's coming in as a much greater awareness of feeling the shades in between, and how they're filling in the spaces to hold those rays of energy, so that they are actually able to come into structure as those elemental stones and gems and minerals that are actually physically present for us. So I hope that's making sense for you in allowing this. Okay. And the direct question was about malachite, and knowing how malachite aligns with copper. That when you're looking for it in nature, copper is always present when malachite forms, as silver and gold are present when quartz forms. So allowing that information to be something even that opens within you of, all right, so these higher fifth dimensional silver, gold, and copper are the main veins, and there's others that are attracted to or close to that. So is malachite associated with the wisdom lineage? Because the copper dragon is. But then the quartz, silver and gold around quartz, that's that crystalline core structure. So it's almost like a break into the triangulation where it's black, white crystal. And does malachite hold in that, or is it holding? I feel like malachite is somehow linked between that air lineage, which is the wisdom lineage, and earth, which is not one of those core lineages, but is like the package that holds and envelops it all. Because the earth and the air dragons naturally merge. They're natural pulling together. They're a natural merge point, just like fire and water. That in those polarities, they hold that, and does that hold the space? And it's because of something within the copper line that is an attractant or part of the expansion into that ray that holds the green and the blue of the malachite. That's very much, I mean, when you look at malachite, it's like looking at the earth from above. So where is that connection point? And this is about a broad spectrum, allowing you guys to feel the answers that you already know within you, and letting that expand within you. Because I can feel from where I sit within the, and it's interesting because it's like bodily within me. When I sit within the Council of 12, that is those, the 6 pairs, the 4 elementals, and the 2 black and whites, male and female of each, that I hold that. And so there's something within me that feels this broad spectrum interwoven like a rainbow. That is how that broad spectrum of the inner earth dragons is held together. And it's like feeling councils that are not even like concentric circles, but are like star-shaped, expanded out multidimensionally, where they fill in those gaps in an intersecting, interwoven, interlaced connection point for us that is the grids within the inner earth. Just as there are dragons holding the grids externally out atmospherically around the earth and her energy bodies and out into the universe, these ones in here, we might imagine them more collapsed or more succinct, maybe manageable in size, and yet it's infinitely expanding inwardly as well, right? So getting off on some tangents here, just allowing you to sit with that and know, all right, maybe there's a certain stone calling you, and you've got some, you can feel dragon energy around you. Can you connect into that stone? Why is a moonstone calling you? Or why is a tiger eye calling you? And is there a dragon energy more directly connected that's trying to reach you through that stone and show you, because of that, I'm here to work on this with you? Because we have a lot of written material in the world available about which specific parts of the body and emotional issues specific stones can assist with. That would really relate into, hello Mel, really relate into those specific dragons and what they may be there to work with you to fill in those gaps, to fill in beyond the core archetypal triangulated energies that we've focused on with the wisdom, love, and power dragons. So I love that. And then the other piece connected to this that I wanted to bring in was a question I got on the discovery call, which was fantastic because a lot of us have done a lot of different pathways to get where we're at on our ascension journey. So whether you've studied Reiki, or you've been led towards shamanism, or you've been led towards like working with angelic realms, there's a pathway for each of us that unfolds that allows dragon crystal skulls called to me. Absolutely, Robin. And those crystal skulls have different properties based on the stone they are carved out of. When we say crystal skulls, everybody assumes, well, they're made of crystal, but I know people that have what they call crystal skulls, and they're made from amethyst, or they're made from some kind of agate or obsidian, or, you know, it's the gamut. So allowing that, which ones are calling you? So this other question of, all right, there's a lot of things coming in my path, and this question, and it's not the first time I've had it, so I love that it was like present while I was sitting with this other aspect, because shamanism in particular takes us into those inner earth realms. It takes us downward and inward into those inner planes of reality. And the question was, look, I've just signed up for this shamanism program. Is it mutually exclusive with diving into the dragon work, because I'm feeling called by the dragons as well. And do they go hand in hand, or should I like focus on one and then focus on the other? And where you're at in your journey right now, because it's go time, because we're coming to, like, everything's coming to a head, everything's got to merge. Absolutely, they're not mutually exclusive. They actually would support each other. And early on in my awakening, I was called into shamanism because for me, it was a natural tool. I had multiple lifetimes through the Native American body archetype, and it was ingrained cellularly. It was like cellular memory within me to be taken by a drum and go immediately into a deep space. You might not have that cellular memory or that background, so another path might work for you. But in sitting with that and realizing, like, oh, all these inner earth and deep earth dragons, they are waiting for you in that. And if that's the tool to get you there, absolutely. Everything that your guides are bringing you right now is meant to work in harmonic together to bring you into the bigger field of knowing that you have to wake up to and realign in all of yourself. It's like bringing all of your aspects into consciousness. So don't fall into the trap of, I can only, and maybe it's a time constraint, but when you limit yourself to, I've got to just focus and finish this, and then I'm going to turn this way. If that's what your heart is telling you, absolutely that's the path to do. But if it's your brain saying, I'm on overload, I can't like mix these, I don't feel like they're going to blend well, or they're going to like, it's going to confuse me or whatever, just trust it and allow yourself to see where and how they merge together, because there might be something trying to blossom that is your specific gift of merging those two that needs to come out for the planet. So that I thought was really perfectly related to, wow, I'm already in the energy of the Middle Earth and Deep Earth dragons here, and here you want to bring shamanism in and drop you down in. It is a beautiful tool, as are many different forms of moving into connection, into those, whether you consider them internal planes, external planes, it's the every plane beyond this veil where we've been cut off from all of the other dimensional aspects. So use whatever tools come, and don't feel like you have to limit. Feel into your gut. Yeah, synchronicity and gut instinct. It's really allowing what's flowing to me, what's happening right now, and saying yes. Allowing yourself to say yes, just like I did to, you know what, I'm going to do my live today. And we've had just as many, if not more, people find it today on that spur of the moment. And what I feel that's leading us into is, for those that watch for that weekly live, it's bringing them out of that consistency pattern and a reliance on that consistency, not only from me, but in their own life. And where you guys are realizing, like, whoa, spur of the moment. Hey, Array's on, Dragon Lady's on. Oh, I'm going to hit it. And we might be talking about something that's exact synchronicity, as Robin's saying here, for you. So we're going to start letting that flow really happen. And it's how I'm running all my programs now. I do not have anything scheduled right now. I'm just doing sessions. I don't know if I'm going to do a book club, maybe another workshop, maybe a quantum flight, maybe nothing for a while. It's really about, there's your first. Absolutely. So glad you did too, Robin. Thanks for having the input. I love seeing the comments when they don't go by too fast and I can actually see them on screen because it's tiny little print. But, and that allowance moving into flow. I am really, really being asked by the dragons to trusting that inner timing and allowance of, oh, yep, it's time now, schedule this. And so I'm going with that. And I do have my list of who's interested in what, and we'll let them know. And if it all aligns perfectly, then that will be what happens. And I also know that I'm opening into, wow, okay, there's also on the plate potentially some time to sit with the second book and bring that through. Because I know I have all the material within me, and I know I have a lot of notes from the last couple of years in a folder, and I know that they need to be woven together. So I'm just allowing all of that to unfold. And this is me being really pulled forward by my own guides, by my own higher self. Next level of trust. What is the next level of trust that you can jump into for yourself? It's been 5 years of breadcrumbing me into more and more and more and more trust. And by me doing that, it's allowing you to watch and feel my journey and be led along into more and more and more trust, So your point of contemplation today is, where can you trust your higher self and the universe more to be guiding you into like living in that heart alignment in that moment? Because that's the essential process. That's really what it's all about. In order to merge with ourselves, we come into that state of union. We merge, for those of us that are dragon hearts, with our full dragon, and follow that heart. What does my heart tell me right now? So, feeling really good and complete on that. Love how this unfolded. Thank you all for being here. It's exciting because I see a lot of new faces on today that don't usually get the lives. So, I love this spur of the moment. Maybe there'll be more than one in a week. Maybe it'll be 10 days between. I'm going to go with whatever feels right in my heart. So, blessing you until the next time we see you. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope this triggered something for your own expansion and a call forward with any of those inner earth dragons that are waiting for you. I feel like that's a big part of why this came out today. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.